And I still feel good about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Make sure that I do that next time. Anyhow, thank you for sharing that. Seriously. Does anybody else have anything to share? Cammy? Zeba?
No.
Okay.
Zeba, you know who I'm talking about, don't you, in the Monday night group?
Yeah, he attends Unity Houston also in the service, and so I'll see him. He has his helmet. Right, he has his helmet, wheelchair. Yeah.
He also works with the Youth and Family Ministry, so I see him a lot.
And I'll see him come to. He'll be.
Absolutely.
He sure is. He sure is in the choir. Yeah, he is.
He sings.
Yeah, he's in the choir.
Yeah.
Okay, he's really more free than my
He is not confined to that body. You can tell he made a decision that he was not that body. He participated in everything.
Yeah.
He kills in the corner, right?
Is that Oscar?
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
I saw him at I think I went to that one 3 or 4 weeks ago. He hangs out in the corner, right?
Yeah. He sits out in the corner. Yeah.
Okay.
He participates in everything around the church.
I didn't know you had been to Unity Houston recently, Oscar. Didn't even know that.
I went back a little while ago. I'd like to try out the different groups. It's always something different to learn.
Wait, I want to see that face because I want to see the face matched with the voice.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have a recording, so or something to show my face.
Okay.
I apologize.
Did you break the camera?
What'd you say?
Did you break the camera?
I didn't hear you.
Did he break the camera?
No, he didn't break the camera. No, he just basically.
No, I just don't own one, unfortunately.
All right.
Okay.
I think you're handsome, Ed.
Say what?
Was that Ed that was talking?
No, that was Oscar.
Oscar.
I think we met during the Monday thing, by the way. Your voice sounds very familiar. I think you were sitting to the left of the main, the guy that actually leads it. To the left or to the right, actually?
His left.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think the time that I went, you were talking about, you had mentioned a situation to where you had someone that, I guess you do a type of business to where you have to work with clients, and you were working with a very frustrating client, and you realized that you didn't have to deal with that client, so you found that to be a very beautiful experience. At least I remember someone on that side of the room mentioning that. So
there was someone else.
Okay, could have been someone else. I apologize if I drew an assumption there without knowing who it was.
We're all one.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead and smack him around a little bit. I'm messing with you. Smack him around a little.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
smack him around
a little bit.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and take about a 7 or 8 minute break, and we're gonna go grab some refreshments, and so you all can do the same, and so we'll be starting back up in about 8 minutes or so. No, I don't need that.
Okay.
Okay. That's good to stand up.
It does.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I'm really sorry that I wasn't recording because there's a whole lot of profound stuff coming out your mouth tonight. You know, like you a lot of good stuff. I like to be able to have that.
master of fluidity.
Jimmy's been teaching tonight, boy. Been teaching tonight. We got some plays.
I've been learning.
Come on, master of fluidity. Yes. Sorry. Yes, you're mocked.
But honey, give me the Mac.
You know, and now I'm glad that this is now has become here. I'm gonna sneak by you and get some water. Real fast.
That's because we don't have any olive oil.
Okay, do I need to bring some next time? Do I need to bring some next time?
We'll have somebody next time, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll have somebody next time. Today we're dealing with the other thing.
Been a busy day.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Those kind of days happen.
Yeah, they do. You want any fruit, Joe?
Oh, no. And tonight I had a big lunch. So I have to be good now.
Yeah.
I had fried chicken.
You got fried chicken?
And potatoes.
Okay.
It was so good.
You gonna serve me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just give me a little bit of everything. I don't know how much, I don't think we have anymore, but. Let's see. We do. We do have some more, take the full wrapper off. Give me everything.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll usually do more than 2 grapes. Yeah, 2.
Okay, work right.
Yeah, more grapes.
Work right.
More grapes than 2 grapes.
Not coming out.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't, okay.
The top is open.
Oh, okay.
So, buddy, what you do?
Okay. Yeah, so the other side.
That's perfect, that's perfect. I'll take a look. Why now?
Steve, is that your own personal concoction or mixture of spices?
No, that's you get that from any place that sells that caters to a large Hispanic community, like Fiesta or
What's it
ATV.
called?
It's called tahini. TAJIN.
Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you
Tastes
so
good
much.
on fruit.
I've had an orange tree in my backyard. I think this is about its 5th year. And this year, it is putting out such beautiful, good, juicy, bright, beautiful yellow. Boy, it's wonderful. But they're all kind of, see, I've had the early ones. And the bigger ones are going to be all coming in at one time. So I'll probably have to bring some here for you guys to try it out.
What's that?
Some oranges from my backyard.
You got oranges in your backyard? Bring them.
They're all green. They're about this big now.
Okay.
They're all green, but I've had a few of the little smaller ones that I let ripen. Will be on my windowsill.
Bring them.
I will. Look at him.
Well,
He's like, we can't get the fruit.
I love fruit. I love fruit. Mm-hmm.
I gave them a
Well,
lot of
thank
fruit.
you, Robert. I appreciate that very much.
You all gonna have to send it to me because I can't read anything on paper.
Yeah, I can put it on in a PDF form for you, man. So that way you can read it.
Yeah, I love fresh oranges. I only drink fresh oranges. I don't like bottled oranges.
No.
It tastes funny.
Yes.
So I squeeze my own juice.
Understood.
That's the best way.
Remember those electric juices?
Best way.
I buy, bags of oranges, but to have fresh ones.
We live together here. We live together here, John. We both pay mortgage up in this house. You talking about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Serena Williams is over the hump, man. Got one more match.
Okay.
And this tonight was her toughest opponent, but she beat her 6-3, 6-1. So that's fairly dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So she goes to the
On Saturday, I don't know who she's playing, but whoever she's playing is ranked a lot higher than this girl she played tonight.
Miss Coco's got a little way to go yet.
Coco is 15. She ran up against somebody that was a two-time Grand Slam winner. And it was just too much for her. But she's got the heart of a champion.
She'll get there.
I think at 15, she's a better player than Serena Williams was at 15.
Yes.
And I think Serena is the greatest ever. Okay? Oh, her day will come.
All right.
I think she thought it was this time, but I knew she wasn't quite there yet. Not quite.
Talk about it,
Number 15,
I'll
yeah.
tell you what though, that girl covers the court as good as she runs that very fast. She covers the court probably as well as anybody while getting to the ball. They have a set of wheels like that. You know, I've been playing tennis since I was a teenager. Nowadays, when somebody hits the ball in the corner, I say, nice shot, let's play the next corner. Don't want that one there.
I know this feeling, yeah.
Okay. So where are we?
14? Are we Saturday or are we on 15?
Let's see. Okay.
Who's
that?
Hold on.
Jimmy read 14, right?
Have you read 14? Dad, why don't you read
15?
15, yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
It's kind of hard to read and eat too.
Joy is unified purpose, and unified purpose is only God's. When yours is unified, it is His. Believe you can interfere with His purpose, and you need salvation. You have condemned yourself, but condemnation is not of God. Therefore, it is not true. No more on any of its healing results. When you see a brother as a body, you are condemning him because you have condemned yourself. Yet if all condemnation is unreal, and it must be unreal since it is a form of attack, then it can have no results.
Isn't it repeated again and again in this book how the mercy and love of God? And I've gotten the impression that it does not teach that God is a vengeful God. I think this supports it, that condemnation is not of God.
And therefore not of us. In other words, don't give way to CCJ.
Don't give way to what?
CCJ, criticism, condemnation, judgment.
Dear Lord. We're going to have a whole new language here.
I like that. CCJ.
Don't give way to CCJ.
I like that.
Whenever you see something in someone else, you're only seeing what's in you.
Yes.
Because it takes one to know you.
You're here.
So whatever it is that you may see, doesn't matter if it's on TV, doesn't matter if it's on the screen, whatever you see in somebody else, whatever you're perceiving in somebody else, you're only perceiving what's already in you.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. Doesn't matter.
So I perceive someone as beautiful and wealthy and fabulous and all that, then that's me.
So you need to tell me
Perfection makes perception.
We have a question for Rob from my dad.
I know.
well, I'm just thinking, I perceive Donald Trump as a narcissist. That makes me a narcissist.
Takes one to know one day.
There is something inside of you that is related,
I'm not,
I don't know if I can accept
might be
that.
related.
and that's okay too. And that's okay too, because you know, the truth doesn't require our acceptance. It merely is whether we accept it or we don't accept it.
You got 7 billion people in the world. We're all different. So if I see differences in somebody else, you tell me I possess those same
We're not
traits.
talking about difference. Yeah, what we are talking about is we are talking about you seeing error in another. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about differences as far as like, you know, black, white, purple, whatever. We're not talking about that. What we are talking about is seeing error from another from a standpoint that you don't have error. And that is not true because you can perceive that error. That error is somewhere within you. So if you see narcissism in Donald Trump, then you are still seeing something that is within you. There is some narcissism, in other words, that's in Robert Wood. So, you know, whatever it is that you see in another is somewhere within you.
Because if you didn't have it, you wouldn't recognize it in another.
You wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah, but you guys aren't mentioning the most important part of all of this. It's that God doesn't see that in anyone.
Sure does.
Right.
God is the truth.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's the most important part. That
Yeah.
even though you see that in other people and you recognize that, hey, you know, Donald is a narcissist, so am I. That person right there is greedy, you know, whatever negative thing you can think of. God never saw you that way, so you're not that way.
Mhm.
Unless doesn't see it that way, but then forgives you for being that way.
Forgiveness is an illusion. Forgiveness is our illusion that brings us to God.
There's no forgiveness in the absolute realm. So there's no forgiveness there. Forgiveness is only in the relative. Forgiveness is here.
Because God doesn't hold it against us in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
To him, it doesn't exist.
Right. God
I
doesn't
mean, forgiveness
see-
wouldn't have a function in the absolute.
Exactly.
It wouldn't have a
Yeah,
function.
forgiveness is, guys, please, by always come in, jump in and correct me. But it's what Jesus showed, that Christ can be seen in anyone. It can be that perfection, if you will. Yet even that is an illusion. That's why our connection to God is through Christ.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sounds right.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Does anybody want to,
Or anything you want to call it.
right.
You can call it a Coca-Cola bottle.
The bottom line is that no one is in a position to sit in an area in a place of superiority and make a reference to another who is just as God, has just as much of God in them as you have in you, and then find fault with God. Can you find fault with God? Because believe it or not, even though this person may not be expressing as God, this is God. So who am I, you, to say, or judge God or whatever? Because we don't even know in this relative world, in this world of time and space, what's in the process of being revealed. We don't know what's in the process of being revealed with Donald Trump. We want to sit here and point at things that we have as evidence that they are bad, that they are not good, or something of that nature, and try to apply absolute values of good and bad to something that's always changing. And the same God that is within me, the same God that is within you, is the same God that is within Donald Trump. And you know that makes Donald Trump our brother.
I love
Whether we embrace that idea or not, the bottom line is it is still the truth. Okay, and as far as looking at a brother and looking at another vessel of spirit, and anything other than what that person actually really is, an absolute understanding, an absolute truth, it kind of does you a disservice too, is what it's saying. It does you a disservice because it imprisons you. So as you recognize these errors and things like that in your brother or sister, then you imprison yourself. And that's me too. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I walk out here and don't perceive any error. I'm not going to sit up here and try to create that type of where you all then think that that's what I do. Okay, I'm saying I catch it now. I catch it. That's the point I'm trying to make. I catch it, and then once I catch it and I realize it, that's a conscious decision right there. The fact that I'm catching it and I'm realizing it. It's a process. Remember we were talking about earlier. It's a process. It's a process. It's a process. I'm not completely at that point where all kinds of things could be happening around me and I'm still singing a Disney tune or something. You know what I mean? I'm still the patient too here, because if I wasn't a patient, I wouldn't be here anymore. I would be gone. You see what I mean? So I'm still a patient here. I'm a patient. All of us are patients here.
Okay. We're all in a sanatorium.
Huh?
We're all in a sanatorium.
Exactly. Sanatorium. Exactly.
Robert, don't forget this. See this?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you point that finger, look at where the majority of the fingers are pointing. Judge not lest ye also be judged. Condemn not lest ye also be condemned. That's what this means.
But I'm glad that you brought up that question, Dad. And this is just a teaching point. And I'm glad you brought it up. And this is nothing, you're not saying anything that no one else has thought. You know what I'm saying? So we're the same boat. We're in the same boat. I don't want you to feel like I'm somehow making or trying to make you feel not comfortable with expressing your questions. I'm just saying that on some level, what you perceive in another, it exists within you.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to hit on that point, man. Even when that stuff points back at you, that's the beautiful part about it. It doesn't matter what the hell points back at you. You are always perfect in God's eyes. That is, in my opinion, the most important point out of all of this. It's you are forgiven, you are loved, you are perfection, no matter what the hell you do. You could kill off half of the earth and God will forgive you. You know what? It's not God that forgives you. You are forgiven, you are perfection either way. Like, there's nothing you can do, not a thing you could do in this realm that would make you be not perfect.
That would cause God to love, that would have God love you any less.
God doesn't forgive.
And you can point as many fingers and be as unforgiving as you want against yourself, like I have been, or like many others, like everyone else around here, but God loves you no matter what.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why God doesn't have to forgive you, because God doesn't hold.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting that. Because I was totally, I'm even thinking of it in terms of separation, where I'm like, oh, God has to forgive me. No. No, that is the illusion. That is the illusion.
See it. All God sees.
Exactly. It isn't real.
Sees our perfection that looks upon us with adoring eyes.
Well, see, the reason why we're in the sanatorium is because we don't see it.
Well, then
you see what I'm saying? So that just brings us back to the point why we're here. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct, Oscar. And once we actually begin to see as God, as Christ, then we won't be here in the sanatorium anymore. You know, or actually the sanatorium will be transformed into a whole different experience. A whole different experience. So I'm glad that you shared it, Oscar.
You know, Jacob Glass.
Yes.
Jacob Glass. Written books and one of the things he says is, "But forgiveness, let it go."
That's good. Yes. Oscar, did you hear
that? I missed it.
I said, "But forgiveness, let it go."
Oh, agreed. No, I often find the hardest things I see in others are realizing that I see those in myself, and that the hardest part, it isn't forgiving them, it's forgiving me. It's forgiving me for being like them. That is the hardest work I have to do.
That's the hardest work for any of us to do, Oscar. You're not by yourself, brother. Trust me. You know, and it is difficult work. It is work that I find myself doing at night when I'm meditating and things like that. And you know, but it is work. It is definitely work. So,
and when Trump was elected, remember, Stephen, you and I were saying,
I saw my moving to Canada.
But I said, you know, we love him. He had a purpose. He is serving a purpose. I told you I love Donald Trump.
Yeah. I didn't say that.
I didn't say I liked everything he did, and I don't have to love. It says love one another. It doesn't say like what each of us does. But I love him. I do. And there are many things that have been revealed that were necessary in order for them to be healed. Mm-hmm. That all of us were in great denial about them. And if you can't see it, you can't hear it. So
I agree. I definitely see the whole usefulness or synchronicity behind what actually unfolded after Obama. I can definitely see everything coming around as perfect as it is. Yeah. Just saying, hey, I get it. Yeah. I mean, and the bottom line is, I'm gonna say this right now going forward, if we don't heal based on what is being presented before us, then it's going to continue and possibly get even more intense. More intense. It could get more intense. You
Well, then
know?
what was it? Can you explain it?
Can I explain what?
I don't follow the news anymore for that sole reason. So if you wouldn't mind explaining what came after Obama that,
Well,
outside of the abrupt racism
Can I share?
that I feel exists, but I mean, that's also a reflection of myself. So,
Well, Oscar, one of the things that has been prevalent on this planet, and particularly in these United States, has been a denial of racism, hatred, and there's a whole list of things.
yeah, those are the big ones that I was thinking of as well. But I was wondering how it relates to each one of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Trump came in and it all was risen to the surface. I mean, it is out there now. Why? It's out there so we can see it, so we can heal it. Because
we can remember to love our brothers and sisters. That's why.
Exactly. And so, you know, that's why I love him, because he took on his role. He played the role that he was given to come into this position, being just the way he is.
Just the way he is.
Just the way he is.
He's not intentionally. He's not intentionally helping us with this process of healing himself, but he is just being himself, and being himself, he's being that perfect one to assist us right now where our state of consciousness was. So see, if our consciousness wasn't where it was, we wouldn't have Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Exactly.
So, you know, the bottom line is, you know, in a psychotherapist will tell you that if you try to hide or deny, like my mother was saying, or sweep it under the rug, as people were attempting to do with racism for so long, attempting to sweep things under the rug, attempting to, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. And what you do, what you create, what the individual creates is a shadow, and that's what we created in this country. We created a collective shadow. Okay, that's all. Okay, this country is no different than the individual. It's no different, no different. And so with this collective shadow, then what were the things that we had with this collective shadow? Well, we had the Black Lives Matter thing, black people getting killed, the traffic stops. We got we have the hashtag Me Too movement. We have the what is it, the Aryan Brotherhood and stuff like that. So all of these things are results of the shadow that we created because we never addressed racism as far as in cleaning it up. Okay?
Never did.
So we never addressed it. Black people didn't want to talk about it. They were in their pain. They were so busy in their pain. They didn't want to talk about it. White people didn't want to talk about it because there was a guilt thing. There was a guilt thing, and they didn't even want to talk about it. They didn't want to address it. So if you don't talk about it, the bottom line is if you don't talk about it, it doesn't heal. It will not heal.
Do we not allow it? Do we not just allow it to be? I mean, I'm not trying, because I totally agree with you, but is allowing not part of this? Surrendering and just allowing it to be? I don't know.
Well,
I struggle with that.
Here's the thing. Allowing a disparity between you and another based on something as trivial as a skin color, but allowing that disparity to exist, basically saying, well, we're just going to allow it, that doesn't contribute to healing either.
No, it doesn't.
I see.
Healing is thoughts of inclusion. And it's difficult to think of thoughts of inclusion when you have categorized your mind in a way where you have separated your mind essentially based on things. So
Yeah,
in other
and
words,
skin color's one of them, body's another, right? So it's synonymous. It's synonymous, is it not?
It's a number of things. It's a number of things. But the only thing that we're advocating right now, Oscar, is that the reason why we're going through this is because this country needs to heal.
Exactly.
Beautifully said. No, I completely agree with everything that you guys said. So it's
not just
very beautifully articulated.
And Oscar, not just racism, sexism. Look at how long women were oppressed.
Since the beginning of time.
Right. And so there were like about 3 or 4 things that had just been denied, because if you said to anyone anything about race, oh, no. We don't have racism anymore.
Mm.
And people who were different races would be going, you really feel that way? You know, that kind of thing. And so things kept getting worse in our nation. Worse and worse and worse and worse. And then we brought into effect, because of what was getting worse, Donald Trump.
Well,
I see.
That was
I follow the logic.
The motivation was fear. I mean, that was
fear.
And
Exactly.
Trump was the catalyst.
Yes.
And so here we are, we're talking about ourselves as individuals, but the fear was kind of unified
It was
and hidden. I'm not sure we'll ever get to a point where we can work beyond that. I mean, it's being manifested in each generation.
Well, I think that fear is definitely a factor. I agree with you on that. Trump being a catalyst, no, Trump is an effect. Trump is an effect. Okay, the cause.
Teacher.
Yeah, he's an effect, because Trump would not have been a factor had our consciousness not allowed.
Exactly.
Right, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, would you consider him a teacher in that sense?
Absolutely,
Yes!
absolutely.
Teacher of the negative side of the ego.
Yes! Yes!
Teacher is a teacher is a teacher. A teacher facilitates learning, and learning is of God.
Yes.
So take that. Okay. So a teacher facilitates
I got
learning.
a question here.
Leads to God.
Would you consider him a narcissist?
Would I consider who a narcissist?
Trump.
Some of his behavior is narcissistic. Yes. Absolutely. Some of his behavior is narcissistic. But
Why are we even analyzing a personality?
take a look at this nation. Would you not say that there is a level of narcissism in the nation as well?
Because it's a manifestation of our internal side. That's why.
Exactly.
Of everyone's internal side.
And that's what we're attempting to establish here, the relativity of everything. Okay, so we're not going to sit up here and point the finger at Donald Trump or anybody else. So we're not even going to do that, because Donald Trump represents a factor, an aspect of us, is what we're trying to say.
Exactly.
You know, we're not trying to sit up here and act as if we're holier than thou and this Donald Trump is over here. No.
Oh, heck yeah, you're holy. Don't be saying that. Heck yeah, you're holy. You know that's true. You can't have it both ways, Stephen. You're holy. Donald Trump is holy. Every one of our brothers and sisters is holy.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely
But
correct.
but I think what you're hitting on is the ego isn't superior than one or the other, is it not?
Yes.
Right. What I'm hitting on is that we're not going to not take our own contribution. We are all complicit in everything that is happening in this country.
Exactly.
So whether you voted, whether you didn't vote, whatever your individual views are, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, in some way, we are all complicit. We are all complicit to everything that you see happening.
Exactly. And all we're saying is that Trump helped pull back the covers so that there is no longer any possibility of us saying it doesn't exist. And we're looking at it, that means we've got to do something about it. Because if it's right here in front of our faces, it means it's in us.
Okay. It's been said that we're all holy. Are we just at different levels of being holy?
There's no different levels of being holy. There's no different level.
We're dealing in illusions.
Exactly.
Man, I love this. Everyone's asking the hard questions, quote unquote hard questions. And it always comes back to the most basic answers, that we are loved, we are holy. It doesn't matter what happens. We have these manifestations. Trump is a teacher, Hitler's a teacher, whoever you can think of that you don't like, the guy that cut you off as a teacher. It's the same darn teaching every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's read paragraph 16 so we can be done with this part, bodies and beings community. And it's your turn? Okay. All right. So Claudia is going to read.
Okay. Do not allow yourself to suffer from imagined results of what is not true. Free your mind from the belief that this is possible. In its complete impossibility lies your only hope for relief. But what other hope would you want? Freedom from illusions lies only in not believing them. There is no attack, but there is unlimited communication and therefore unlimited power and wholeness. The power of wholeness is extension. Do not arrest your thought in this world, and you will open your mind to creation in God. Amen.
Okay.
Well, that's what we just said. There it is. There's the period at the end of the sentence.
Yeah. Amen.
What do you think? What do you think, Oscar, Annie, Zeba? What do you guys in Zoom land think about that last one?
What paragraph and page were you on? Because I actually didn't. I missed it. I'm sorry.
That was the last paragraph of body as a means of communication. That was paragraph 16.
What page?
What page is it?
154.
154.
154. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Cammy, are you still there? Zeba, you there?
Everybody disappeared.
No, they are there.
They're there.
Yeah, Zeba's there.
They're just not hearing us.
They come back.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm sorry. So the power of wholeness is extension. Do not arrest your thought in this world, and you will open your mind to creation and God. So, I understand these words, but I still would like to know how exactly I can go about this, freeing myself by extending, so because it seems like I need to extend my mind beyond the body, and I would like to know how to go about that.
Try not to think of it, Zeba, as like like a instructional type of thing. Try to look at it from a standpoint of just perceiving, because in these bodies, or while we're using these bodies, the only thing we can do is perceive anyway. Even whether it's perceiving truly or perceiving falsely, it's still perception. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
So if you perceive yourself as spirit, though, that is a step in the right direction. If you perceive yourself as spirit, as the basic fundamental core of Zeba is spirit, and you are spirit experiencing being human, that is a wonderful start in the right direction.
That's the question, how to do that.
Remember who you are.
Yeah.
Remember who you are.
You're God. Remember that. Yeah. Remind
come to
yourself
you.
every day.
Don't worry about it. Honestly, it'll just come
See,
to you.
Oscar, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I just said it'll come to you.
It'll come to you.
Don't worry about it.
Well, you know, in just a few words, he said that may sound not as profound as it is. Because if you do look at your life and need for there to be a change, and you have a glimpse that you do not know the truth, and so you must turn to Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, for guidance. And I think that's the only way we can go. That's the only answer. We do not know the truth. And we have ourselves heavily invested in a lot of illusion. So
Is it that we don't know it, or it's just so covered?
we don't remember it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We don't remember it. So we need the Spirit to guide us.
Because if we are who we are being told that we are, then we do know it. But you're right, we've forgotten it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Covered it up with all these illusions. Not done a wonderful job of that.
Man, I was really hoping Steven was going to give the best advice that I've ever heard, which is just listen to yourself. Great advice, by the way, Steven. I asked you a question on something. I can't remember what it was, but you gave me that advice. And best advice I've heard in a while. So.
Well, thank you, brother. But you're giving some pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good
that's a good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to yourself. I agree. Would that be enough?
It's always enough. As you are enough. And you know something, Ziba, it's important not to be hard on yourself if you feel like you're not getting it or something like that. Just think of it as accepting or releasing or just letting go. And you know, you don't have to be in charge. Just reminding yourself that you don't have to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
And everything doesn't have to go your way. You know,
right.
These are those little things, you know, because like certain things may cause us to cause charges or get us to get upset.
Right. Do not resist.
Right. When things don't go our way.
What is? Yeah.
Things don't go our way, then, you know, that might, you know, run us up the flagpole as far as getting upset or whatever, run up our blood pressure, something like that. And just, you know, reminding yourself that you don't need to have your way. Things don't, you know, as far as like how somebody else thinks is how they think. And what somebody does is what they does. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to get it. You don't need to, the bottom line is still have a love for that person. In spite of what they're actually expressing right now, that is not their truth. You know, and that's why it says in the Bible, do not be deceived by appearances. It says that all over the place in the Bible. Why do you think it's saying that? Okay. Don't be deceived by appearances. Just because you see somebody acting a certain way or whatever, that is not indicative of whether or not God is within that person. God is expressing through that person. God is there. God is always there, just like God is within you. The bottom line is most of the time we just really don't know what's happening. We don't know what's in the process of unfolding. We don't know because the only thing we're seeing is a very small moment in time. That's all we're seeing. But we're not seeing the whole evolution of even one life until you've actually, like maybe some people that you've actually known and you've seen how they've grown throughout their whole life, and then you see their life and you're like, oh, I can definitely see God in your life. But when you're meeting people and you have acquaintances, you don't see that whole 30 to 60 years of God in their life. You only have this, and so what I'm trying to say is reminding yourself that you're not seeing the whole picture.
Beba?
Yes?
What are you wanting to experience?
I have a hard time hearing you.
Ziba, what are you wanting to experience?
No, I was just wondering, you know, when it says the power of wholeness is extension, and seems like, you know, we need to be extending so that we we um, um, we would be you know, doing the right thing with regards to the curriculum, to you know, to experience the joy of unified purpose, to get to the purpose. So that's why, you know, it has always been a question to me, how do I know if I am extending or not extending?
Hey, let me ask you, what do you mean by extending? What does it mean for you?
To me, it's you know, what the spirit does is extension, according to this book. I think you know, the ego makes and you know, does things, but God and the spirit extend. And so if I want to be, you know, the real me, the person that I'm sorry, the God created, you know, spirit, then I need to be extending, and extending what? Extending myself, which is my real self, which is love. So it would be extending love. That's how I understand this.
Love instead of fear, love instead of hate, love instead of lack, love instead of judgment, love, you know, just everywhere instead of
Exactly.
yeah, right. So it's just being aware of who we are being in any given moment, especially in our interactions with our brothers and sisters. And are we extending love, or are we extending criticism? Are we extending peace, or are we extending conflict? So what in each moment in our interactions with each other are we extending? Love, joy, peace, acceptance. Those are the things that we're meant to be extending. And when we notice that we are extending anger, or we're extending hatred, or we're withholding love, or withholding acceptance, then in the moment, if we recognize it, we can do a conscious shift and choose again. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes. And thanks to everyone who contributed to the answer. Thank you.
Just to expound, or just to reiterate, do not allow yourself to suffer from imagined results of what is not true. Do not allow yourself to suffer from imagined results of what is not true. Free your mind from the belief that this is possible. In its complete impossibility lies your only hope for release.
True.
Then the last sentence, do not rest your thought in the world. And you will open your mind to creation and God. And I think we all get a little bit involved with the world. I know I do.
It's but we can also simplify. The course is profound. But sometimes it takes just putting it in some very simple terms among each other to help get it. I love the profundity of the writings of the course, but when someone is having a challenge with it, let's break it down to the nitty-gritty.
My experience with the course, and when I began with the course, is I was initially attempting spiritual bypass. So I was attempting to just experience oneness, and I didn't want to concern myself with what was going on, what I was actually perceiving or what I was seeing, and things like that. So I was leaning towards spiritual bypass. Now I realize that the things that I perceive are merely extensions of the spiritual experience, which, in other words, I incorporate the two now. They work together as one. In other words, I've integrated what I see along with absolute truth. I have integrated it in my mind from a standpoint of although I may see something that may initially be thought of as being maybe an attack, maybe, someone is, I don't know, not expressing themselves as, maybe I would express myself, or maybe I'm seeing something that I don't understand. Now I'm beginning to see that there's a synchronicity involved with everything that I experience, where everything that I experience is telling me something about myself now. Everything. It wasn't, I didn't see it that way at first. I used to see it like it was them. It was out, it was outside of me. But now I'm realizing that everything that I experience and perceive and things like that, it's telling me something about me, something that I need to work on, telling me about something that I didn't know, that I wasn't acknowledging before. Maybe I wasn't acknowledging, the fact that I could be selfish, and I'm perceiving selfishness in someone else or whatever. I'm thinking that they're
How
selfish.
about something that you're amazing at?
That's the same thing. It works the same way.
No, it's the same way.
It's the same way. Exactly. It's the same way.
But that's the part you should be focusing on, man.
Yes.
The part that you're a teacher, brother. Seriously. And I don't hear that as much from you.
Yeah.
You're a teacher.
I'm also a student.
So am I. So is everyone else.
Right.
We're all learning.
I'm also a student. And as people, we all tend to want to, Oscar, to answer your thing, we want to talk more about the things that are going right, but many of us want to avoid the things that we need to work on. And I'm not going to have that type of fear as far as saying, hey, you know something, these are things that I'm working on, and that's all there is to it. Because I have to have that kind of openness with myself, so that way I can continue to work on myself and heal myself. And I don't just heal myself. I mean, I'm healed by experiencing someone else who I perceived, like I was telling you, who I perceived was selfish or whatever. And then as I realized that it really wasn't really them at all, it was really me, but I was projecting on them, then I'm healed. But I was healed because of what it was that I experienced with that brother and sister. It doesn't make it a bad thing, because, to be honest with you, Oscar, a lesson is a lesson is a lesson. So, it could be a positive, loving lesson, but it could be a fearful lesson as well. But
I agree.
I
totally agree. But don't you want to see that positive side more often?
I'm just willing to, I want to see the positive side, but at the same time, I'm willing to accept all of me. I don't want to hide any of me. I don't want to hide. I don't want to hide any of me. I don't want to just say, okay, I only want to look at the wonderful aspect of me and then don't acknowledge the aspect that I'm working on. I don't want that. That's in denial. That's living in denial. I don't want to be denied. I've lived in denial long enough, Oscar.
No, I follow.
So now I'm willing
to understand that you're not always perceived as that negative influence. So I want you to understand that you're not always perceived that way. So
I appreciate that.
I mean, you should take that deep down inside, that others see the God in you. They see the Christ in you. So
I don't think
I'm being real with you here, man.
I didn't hear him as saying that was okay.
Either way, it's fine. We are about to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I being rude by interrupting? Just let me know.
Not at all, Oscar. Not at all. We appreciate it, bro.
I was just responding.
Yeah. This is how we do. I'm just so glad that you're here with us again, Oscar. I don't know what happened to Cammy, but Ziba, I'm so happy that you are with us. And
Thank you.
Who's this down here?
Cammy Lee.
My pleasure.
And thank you. And you're off to the side there, Elena. So now I see you. I see you saying first your picture was to the side and stuff, but it's good to see you, Elena. Elaine, I'm sorry. It's good to see you, Elaine. And who is this person at the bottom? I'm trying to.
That's Oscar.
No, Oscar is over here on the right.
Is he?
Yeah, Oscar's on the right. Yeah.
No idea.
Okay. What does this say? Somebody just sent a message. Oh, it's Oscar.
That was me.
Oh.
All right. Guys, I got to head out. Thank you so much. Let me know when you guys do it next week. I definitely got to go there in person. So.
All right, Oscar. Thanks for joining. We're going to pray out. And hold on one second. We're going to pray out.
You guys ready to pray?
All right. You want to pray us out?
God, thank you. No, that's really basically it. Thank you. Because just coming together and doing this together, we leave greater than we were. Because we have joined in realization. So we just thank you for each and every person participating in this, and insights and the wisdom and the sharing and the good fruit. And this time, in this space, where you have created an opportunity for us to grow and evolve. And so we thank you. That's basically it. We thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So
I want to thank everyone for their contributions. I want to thank
You.
Jimmy and what he took the time to write and share with us. I'm grateful for so many profound statements, too many to count, that have been expressed this evening. And I'm just filled with gratitude. So it is. All right.
Don't forget to get a copy, people, if you want it.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're gonna do PDF, right?
Thank you so much, Ziba.
Thank you.
All right, you have a
And
wonderful.
thanks to everyone.
Absolutely. Hope to see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Yes, hope to see you all.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
All right. And Eve meeting. In meeting for all.